From billion-dollar failures and nuclear disasters to towns swallowed by sand and silence, these are cities built with big dreams that ended in strange stillness. All across the world, entire neighborhoods, skyscrapers, and homes now sit lifeless, frozen in time. What happened? Why did people leave? Let's explore the 15 largest abandoned cities and the haunting stories they left behind. Ordos City, China. Ordos was meant to be China's futuristic city of dreams. Planned in the early 2000s, this massive urban space was built for over 1 million residents. It had grand buildings, modern roads, and stunning architecture, but barely anyone moved in. Real estate prices soared, the economy shifted, and developers were left with an empty city filled with high-rises and hollow neighborhoods. Today, Ordos is one of the world's most expensive ghost towns, a billion-dollar symbol of ambition gone silent. Its silence echoes louder than its construction ever did. But China isn't the only country with a hauntingly quiet metropolis. Pripyat, Ukraine. In 1986, the world changed when the Chernobyl nuclear reactor exploded. Just a few miles away was Pripyat, a thriving city built for plant workers and their families. With nearly 50,000 residents, it had schools, parks, cinemas, and even a brand new amusement park. But after the explosion, radiation forced a full evacuation. People left everything behind, not knowing they'd never return. Today, decaying Ferris wheels and overgrown buildings show what happens when a city is frozen in time. Wildlife now roams where children once played, now from a nuclear city to a floating fortress lost in the sea. Hashima Island, Japan. Once the most densely populated place on Earth, Hashima Island boomed with undersea coal mining in the early 20th century. Entire families lived in concrete apartment blocks on this tiny island off Nagasaki. There were schools, shops, and even rooftop gardens. But when Japan moved away from coal in the 1970s, the jobs disappeared. And so did the people. The island was left to crumble. Today, its wave-battered ruins stand as a grim monument to industrial power and sudden collapse. And speaking of strange emptiness, wait till you see what luxury looks like in a ghost city. Ashgabat, Turkmenistan. Welcome to the city of the dead, not because of horror, but because of how empty it feels. Ashgabat, Turkmenistan's capital, was built to impress. With over 500 marble buildings, giant fountains, golden statues, and even the world's largest indoor Ferris wheel. But few people actually live there. It's pristine, polished, and lifeless. Strict government control and isolation from the outside world have turned Ashgabat into a surreal stage set, almost like a giant movie set with no actors. It's beauty without buzz, splendor without sound. From marble cities to medieval ruins, let's head to Italy next. Krakow, Italy. Perched dramatically on a cliff in southern Italy, Krakow dates back to the 8th century. For centuries, it stood strong through war, disease, and rebellion. But nature had other plans. Landslides and earthquakes in the 20th century made it too dangerous to live in. By 1963, the last 1,800 residents were relocated to safer ground. Since then, Krakow has become a magnet for filmmakers and tourists. Its stone structures and narrow alleys remain untouched by modern life. It's haunting, beautiful, and completely abandoned. Now we leave the stone towns behind for a desert swallowed by sand. Kolmanskop, Namibia. Kolmanskop once sparkled with diamonds and dreams. Built in 1908 after a lucky railway worker found gems in the sand, this German colonial town quickly grew into a rich desert oasis. There were ballrooms, a hospital, a school, and even an ice factory in the middle of the Namib Desert. But by the 1930s, the diamonds dried up, and so did the people. The desert took back its land. Today, sand floods the old buildings, filling bathtubs and creeping through doorways. It's as if time buried it. From desert sands to snow and Soviet silence. Next stop, Norway. Pyramiden, Norway. Deep in the Arctic, Pyramiden was once a proud Soviet mining town. Built in the 1920s and sold by Sweden to the USSR, it had everything. Housing blocks, a library, a theater, even a Lenin statue. It was a frozen utopia for coal workers. But when the USSR collapsed, so did Pyramiden's purpose. The last resident left in 1998. Now, it's a chilling time capsule. Visitors can still tour the abandoned buildings where furniture, records, and dusty pianos remain frozen in time. And now, from frozen ruins to fire-ravaged streets buried beneath smoke. Centralia, Pennsylvania, USA. What if your hometown was on fire forever? That's what happened in Centralia, where an underground coal fire has been burning since 1962. It started as a trash burn gone wrong and ended up igniting a vast network of coal seams under the town. Over the years, toxic gases, sinkholes, and collapsing roads made it impossible to live there. Most of Centralia's 1,000 residents left. Only a handful remain. Roads are cracked, houses are gone, and the ground smolders, still burning after 60 years. From America's burning town, we now head to a Russian city frozen in post-Soviet silence. Vorkuta, Russia. Once a booming Arctic coal town, Vorkuta started as a Soviet labor camp under Stalin. At its peak, people rushed here for jobs braving the brutal cold. Whole villages popped up around the mines and over 1 million lived in the Arctic zone. But when the Soviet Union collapsed, the coal industry followed. The jobs vanished and the towns emptied out. Some villages are completely deserted while others have just a few residents left behind, stuck in freezing buildings they can't sell or leave. From ice and coal to Mediterranean beaches that once hosted Hollywood stars. Varosha, Cyprus. In the 1970s, Varosha was a glitzy beach resort visited by stars like Elizabeth Taylor and Brigitte Bardot. But in 1974, Turkey invaded Cyprus and the once buzzing district of Famagusta was sealed off overnight. Its residents fled, and the area has remained under Turkish military control ever since. Nature began reclaiming the city. Hotels crumbled, streets cracked, and silence replaced luxury. No civilians are allowed in, and the skyline of empty high-rises stands frozen just beyond a military fence. Now let's step into a Paris-inspired dream town that never quite woke up. Tianducheng, China. China's Tianducheng is like walking into a Paris theme park without the crowd. Built in 2007 to resemble the French capital, it has cobbled streets, European architecture, and even a 300-foot Eiffel Tower. The city was meant to house 10,000 residents, but its isolated location and poor planning left it nearly empty. Today, it's mostly filled with the staff from a nearby French-themed amusement park. Its wide boulevards echo with silence, making it one of the most surreal ghost towns on Earth. From Paris knockoffs to fairy tale castles. Let's head to Turkey next. Burj Al Babas, Turkey. Imagine hundreds of mini castles standing tall, but no one lives in them. That's Burj Al Babas, a $200 million luxury housing project gone wrong. Developers plan to build 732 fairy tale-like villas for foreign buyers, complete with lakes and gardens. But economic crisis, political turmoil, and collapsing oil prices forced the company into bankruptcy. Now, 587 eerie, half-built castles stand abandoned in a quiet valley, like something out of a fantasy film gone cold. Let's shift from fantasy ruins to ancient stones standing the test of time in California. Body, California, USA. Body is the Wild West frozen in time. In the late 1800s, this gold mining town was booming, with saloons, gambling halls, and plenty of trouble. But harsh winters, deadly diseases, and violent crime gave it a rough edge. By the early 1900s, the gold rush faded, companies shut down, and people moved on. Fires in 1932 wiped out much of what remained. Today, Bodie is a perfectly preserved ghost town in a California State Historic Park, with dusty streets and creaky homes left just as they were. And now, a coastal village where the jungle took back what people abandoned. Hutuan, China. Once a thriving fishing village near Shanghai, Hutuan was abandoned in the 1990s as residents sought better jobs on the mainland. With no one left to maintain it, nature took control, turning rooftops into gardens and doorways into green tunnels. Ivy and moss now wrap every building, giving it an otherworldly, enchanted feel. It's like the earth quietly erased human footprints with a brush of leaves. Tourists now visit for the incredible photos and haunting peace of a village overgrown by time. Ready for our last stop? It's a place where sci-fi met tragedy and never recovered. Sanxipad City, Taiwan. Sanxipad. City was supposed to be a space-age resort in Taiwan. Built in the late 1970s, it featured futuristic, UFO-shaped homes designed to attract luxury vacationers. But after multiple strange accidents and financial troubles, the project was scrapped. Locals whispered about curses, and the odd architecture added to its spooky charm. The pod stood abandoned for decades before most were demolished in 2010. Though it's mostly gone now, Sansi remains one of the world's strangest ghost town stories, a failed dream in plastic and glass. These cities once echoed with life. Now they whisper with mystery. Some were built too fast, some died too young, and others were victims of war, greed, or nature itself. Would you dare visit any of them? Or would you rather leave their ghosts undisturbed? Let us know, and we'll see you in the next one.